Hello, welcome to the Figure Out Info podcast. This one for the big game, or as we will call it here, the Super Bowl. We have a lot of things to talk about. I've got a lot of prop bets. I'm sure the mayor has a lot to say. And I'll start with the random fact. I'm just going to get started with this. Do you know why they don't use red Gatorade?
Red Gatorade probably has a dye in it that would clash with the white jerseys.
That is definitely probably a reason, but the main reason it's plus 1100 to be the Gatorade at the end of the game is they don't use red Gatorade because it looks too much like blood. They may not be able to tell the difference if a player's bleeding or if they're just drinking Gatorade and spilled it.
I was gonna go the blood route, but I was like, if it's it's not like the blood's gonna get inside the Gatorade. So yeah, okay.
Yeah. So don't bet that 11-1. I'm not betting on the Gatorade at all, but we'll see. All right. So I guess we'll get right into the game. The Patriots and Seahawks. Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites. The over/under is 44.5. And what are your initial thoughts on this game?
Well, as a someone with a division rival in the game, I'm in a hatred, especially seeing they're playing in the 49ers stadium. It is, that is a lot to take in as a fan, to watch your rivals do it there. I know Miami has watched New England win a Super Bowl in their stadium, and the Rams won a Super Bowl in their stadium, and Tampa has never seen anyone. It's happened. It's bitter.
Mm-hmm.
And the Empire is striking back, but Darth Vader and the Colossus of New England is back. The dark side looks like it's here to stay. Now that I've used every completely useless pun, we can get on with the action. Gonna be a great game. Looking forward to it reluctantly, but I will obviously watch Super Bowl 60 and all the festivities leading up to and during and in the middle of. We don't need to get into that necessarily. However, I think I think they are going to be able to get business done. They've got the more complete team. We could say New England maybe didn't necessarily have a tough road to the Super Bowl, but that's just poppycock because they won 16 football games this year, so that's hard to do regardless of who or what you play.
Yeah, for sure. So I was gonna mention that it's in Santa Clara, but I left that up to you. All right, so yeah, I mean, it's kind of ironic that you, as a 49ers fan, will get to see the stadium and watch your least favorite team play. All right, so the over/under here for total touchdowns, I thought this was interesting. It's 4.5, and the under is plus 130. So if there's just 4 touchdowns in this game, that would hit pretty good, plus 130. I don't know how you feel about that one, but I feel like this is not going to be a high-scoring game. So wouldn't surprise me if there were a ton of field goals and just 4 touchdowns or less.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it is going to be a low scoring game. I don't know what the weather's like. I haven't actually looked into that. I don't think it's going to matter. I think I think the winning team will probably score 24 points at most. 24-17 is probably where we're looking at this game.
Yeah, the sneaky thing would be, of course, 24-20, where New England covers, but Seattle wins. That to me is what I'm looking at for sure. But those cliche 24-17, those kind of never seem to happen. Like that seems like a really, really, really common score, but it's like it doesn't. I don't ever see it. Maybe it's just like it's so common that you just kind of
I
overlook it.
believe it's happened over 900 times. Last time I remember looking on NFL Scoregami.
Yeah, and we should talk about that. I didn't even think about Scoregami. Do you think there's a chance of a Scoregami here? A greater chance than
Now,
than usual?
aside from there being a safety, that's the only thing that can really put you in the scoregami territory. At this point, missed extra points aren't a thing because you can go for two more prevalently, and it just I don't think we have a scoregami this weekend.
Do you think that any of the players could get an octopus
An octopus,
scoring
a touchdown, what?
touchdown and the 2-point conversion
Um, that's
themselves?
possible. Is that what they call an octopus? I've never heard that term before.
Yeah, so Jalen Hurts has done it a bunch of times because he rushes and then he rushes on the 2-point with the tush push or whatever. So that happens sometimes. I'm not big on that one, but the score gummy is interesting because I think there will be some defensive big plays like there may be a pick six in here, or we might see a special teams touchdown. But also both of these defenses are going to rush the passer like very, very bad, like very furiously. Um, and especially the Patriots. So if either of these teams is in and around the end zone, we could see a safety. I'm pretty sure.
And I
Um,
stand very corrected. 24-17 has happened 181 times in NFL history, according to scoreagami.com. And it appeared 302 was a score of 20-17. It looks like it is the most common, followed closely behind 23-20.
mm,
But 100,
yeah, I think it's
190
just I overlooked.
times, 181 times in the history of the NFL have we seen 24-17.
All right, but I think I just probably overlooked the games where that's the score because I feel like I don't see those common ones, but maybe it's just I'm blind to it. All right. Let's move to some other stuff. So Seattle is second in the league in DVOA. New England is ninth. I think this is, the heart of this is going to be a low scoring game. I'm almost positive, and I think we're going to see very low score in the first half. And where it might get dicey for the under is going to be that fourth quarter. But do you have any other thoughts before we move on to some prop bets?
No, I think it's gonna. I think New England's gonna rise to the challenge. I think Vrabel, while this team seems like on paper they're behind morally and everything like that you need for your football team, he's gonna have them motivated. And after all, I mean, when it comes down to it, it is just one game. Anything can happen in one game. I just want to see something.
Yeah, so let's go over some basic stats just to remind everybody. So these two quarterbacks were fourth and fifth, respectively, in completion percentage. May is 72%, Darnold 68%. May is also third in touchdowns overall at 31. Darnold tied for seventh at 25. May just 8 interceptions, Darnold 14 interceptions. So I know a lot of this storyline's been playing all week that Sam Darnold probably throws a pick. I think that's probably pretty likely, especially since the pass rush is coming for him. And he does not do well under pressure. And that's why I think it's also probably going to be a low scoring game because I don't think the Patriots are going to score much if their defense gets after Darnold. I don't think the Seahawks are going to
Yeah,
put
I
many points on
agree.
the board either.
I think I'm more worried about Drake May than Sam Darnold in the turnover game. I think that defense in Seattle is going to be better and be able to get after Drake May. And being a little bit younger player, he may not be able to regain focus or keep focus. And one interception is going to be all it could take for the team to have the momentum and everything in their direction. But I would bet that there is going to be at least a interception thrown in this game.
Yeah, and I forgot like May are probably more likely to fumble. I mean, with the the Seahawks defense coming in. So yeah, he's had some bad games with turnovers, even though he only had 8 interceptions during the regular season. So I'm interested in that. The props that I have four props that I like, and two of them are kind of long shot, and two of them are pretty sure things. Um, do you want to get into props
I
yet,
think
or
it's
you got
probably
some
ready to
anything
move on
else?
to some props.
Okay, so these are
Yeah.
player props, um, and I'm gonna start. I've got Drake May under 19.5 passing completions. That's minus 110. Obviously, it's not great odds, but he's not done that in the last 5 games. He has not thrown 20 pass completions. So I like that one.
Yeah,
It's
that's a pretty
minus
good
110.
one. I'm gonna kind of try to get something out of the gate here and build up that bank early in the game, so maybe I can play a few more. I'm gonna go with first touchdown score of Cooper Cup at plus 1100.
Yeah, I mean it's worth a shot. I think I've hit that a couple of times, but I very rarely tie it to anything else. As a single bet, I think it's kind of fun. But that would be a good idea. Get the bankroll going early. My second one is JSN over 1.5 touchdowns. Now, this is 5-1, so it's unlikely, but I think they're gonna try to get him the ball, especially in the red zone, because he's the surest pass catcher on the team. And scoring one touchdown is minus 115 for him. So if he sneaks in the end zone twice, it's five
Yeah,
to one.
I
What do you think
do
about
like
that?
that, but for my sure thing bet, if there ever was such one, I'm gonna stick with Kenneth Walker the third on multiple touchdown games, and he's I'm gonna see him getting in the end zone. It's only a plus 275, but one of these two guys is gonna probably end up being the MVP for the Seahawks if and when they raise the Lombardi. So we'll see what happens.
My third one's a little out there. George Olani is the only other running back besides Kenneth Walker for the Seahawks, so he's going to see some time on the field. He's it looks like from the odds that he's going to get about 3 rushes. That's what the Hard Rock bet is expecting. He's going to get about 3 rushes and the over 10.5 rushing yards. I'm going to take that. It's minus 120, which is not great, but but I think he's going to get at
Okay,
least 11
at
rushing
least
yards.
11 rushing yards. Wow. Um, okay.
Mhm.
Uh,
I know.
I, I'm
He's going to
not a
spell
big
Kenneth
fan of
Walker.
the passing yards. I'm looking at Darnold and May, and I don't want to touch those. Those over unders are in the 220s, 230s. I can't
Yeah.
get on board with one of those because two or three plays and that can kind of out there. Receiving though, I think we got a lot of receiving. Like you said, Smith and Njigba's over 94.5 yards for minus 115.
Hmm.
I think I'm going to go with that, but I'm going to go a little further down the well and make it like 120 and see if I can ramp up those extra points in that spread there.
The concern is that the defense will focus on and try to take away Jackson Smith and Jigba, and therefore he may not get the yards. He might get some catches, but they're gonna swarm him. And but I still think he's got some red zone potential. I am worried about that over with him because I don't know if Sam Darnold's going to have enough time to get in the ball, and I think they're going to be all over him. So, but I don't know. I've got one that I really like, Raheed Shaheed for anytime touchdown. It's plus 350. He returns the kicks. Their special teams has been great this year. I can see him either getting one through the offense or through special teams. So that's plus 350, and I think it's a
Yeah,
pretty likely bet.
that sounds really good. Um, I want to go down the rabbit hole a little bit. There's a lot of spam sites out there on social media everywhere, and one was talking about NFL script writing. And I don't know where in the NFL script they had the
Yeah.
Seahawks playing the Patriots this year. in the script. I'm not really sure about that. But I did the best I could to figure out what the odds would have been. But if you would have bet that the Seahawks were playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl, just making it, basically both teams winning their conference, it would have been like a 2,700 to 1 at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So the script writers must have gotten this
Mm-hmm.
one wrong. I'm not sure what happened. It turns out that the Seahawks and the Patriots both were pretty good football teams. I would say without a doubt that the Seahawks were the best team in the conference this year, and the Patriots played like they were the best team in the conference this year. But they made it. Uh, but however, with all that being
Mm-hmm.
said, um, I would have bet now they're the favorites to win. 3-4 weeks out they were the favorites to win. It would have been a nice little payday. Um, and then there was one more rabbit hole item. It basically broke down the script of the entire game, and
Mm-hmm.
aside from the shenanigans that were in the middle of the post, basically said Seahawks score first, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. So I plugged all that in, and it would be like a plus 1,800. And it's a wild parlay involving the
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks score first. The Patriots turn the ball over one time. The Seahawks, no one scores in the second quarter, no one scores in the third quarter. The Patriots score 14 points in the fourth quarter and end up losing in overtime. And it's a wild parlay that's going to amount to me a lot of.
Now, do you get the overtime one
Will I
too? Because
bet
there's
all of
always
it
a
on
bet for the
a
game going into
parlay?
overtime.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
it's very
So the
very
overtime is
awesome.
in there. I've got a big one too, similar to that, similar odds to that. I'm gonna get to that later. We're gonna do the playoff parlay, but I wanted to finish up with some of my other um, player props first. Um, Drake May is known for throwing a deep ball, and he's probably going to take 4 or 5 shots, especially if they're behind in the second half. So I like the longest completion over 33 and a half. And it's minus 115. It's not big, but he just needs to hit one of the long balls. Of course, it could be somebody sneaking out of the uh, the defense, sneaking behind the defense, or somebody just having a spectacular run after the catch. So a lot of ways that can happen, but I think it's a pretty sure bet at minus 115.
Yeah, that's really good. And ironically, the what was I going to say? I'm sorry. The odds for the score to be an even number is plus 140, and an odd is minus 110. So there's something there with the math that the game is more likely going to end up in an odd.
Yeah, and that's what makes me think we might see a safety or missed extra point. Something's going to happen because um, I have no idea how that gets calculated. I know it's something um, done purposefully with actual analytics to back it up, but that's
Extremely.
very strange, don't you think? So, do you think taking the
Well, if you
odd number
want
is
to
the
turn
play
one
there?
dollar into 125, yes.
Well, I'm gonna bet like all of it,
Well,
like $1 million
yeah.
on that. No,
Would you
yeah,
bet a
I
million
know.
dollars to make 25,000 if it's almost a sure thing?
No, not on the
Well, what
even
if you
odds.
were Elon?
For sure, not that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, why not? The biggest thing that I like to do is just bet on something on both offenses. And if you can get it, like something on both defenses, if you got like a sack by a certain player, because then it's like, every single time that they're on the field in every play, there's something that could go right for you. So you don't get bored and you're like, oh, I can't wait till the Seahawks get the ball back so that I can see one of my player props gets done. So that's my thing, and I would advise everybody just take, even if it's just one thing, take one thing on each side that you can root for. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the parlays that the Hard Rock Sports app is throwing out there that they want people to jump on, which these are like never going to
Mm,
happen because they're offering it and they made something up. This one is actually wild now that I'm looking at it. It
right.
basically involves 5 touchdowns, one by uh, Stevenson, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Cup, Smith Najigba, and Walker the third. All 5 of them scoring a touchdown. It's a plus 6,300. I feel sorry for the poor sap who thinks that's going to happen because they're just really chumming the waters to take however much you want to bet on that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't get that. I don't get the recommended ones because obviously, I mean, could it happen? Of course, it could happen, but also a lot of things in in the world can happen, and
Yeah,
those are
but
things that are not likely to
it's
happen,
not like
and
picking
why
out
they
your
were.
own parlay. Do you feel better because you think you picked it, the one that's going to actually hit? It's not. I mean, it is, but for every one that hits there's 10,000 people that it didn't help. So, in the end, the house wins.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm real suspicious of the actual betting apps recommending something to you. It just seems like a conflict of interest, and I wouldn't be interested in any of those. I have two more prop bets that I like, and then I have a big one like the one you talked about. I've got one with big odds. I like Sam Darnold to throw at least one pick. That is minus 125.
Yeah, I
Seems
am
pretty
completely
likely.
with you on that one.
They're going to be rushing him, which I wonder about the scrambling yards. If you could, rushing yards for one of the quarterbacks. I didn't like any of the ones I saw, but that would be like Drake May, especially um, rushing yards. I might take the over because I think he's going to try to escape the pocket. I think I saw his longest rush, or I think it was 13 and a half points for his. I can look it up, but I think it was 13 and a half yards. Sorry, not points. Would be his
Oh, wow.
total for rushing. So yeah, that might be something to look at, but I'm not confident enough in that one. The other one that I like, I love the kicking props. I don't know if we've talked about this on the pod too much, but I have messaged you quite a bit about this. Like some of these things are just basically a lock, and so you know, they're gonna add odds to your parlay, and they're pretty automatic. Um, I think the New England kicker Borregales is going to go over 6.5 kicking points. So this would require 3 field goals, 2 field goals, and an extra point. It seems like there's no way he doesn't get that. I mean, it's minus 130, but if you add it along with other things in
Yeah,
the parlay, it kind of bumps things up.
I'm down that rabbit hole with you right now, and I see that. That's seems pretty automatic, but I mean, what if he misses an extra point and they only get 6?
Yeah. Yeah, and what if they're going for two a lot? There's a lot of circumstances that could ruin that one. But I think if you're playing out that scenario, I think it happens way more often that he would get 7 points total than he wouldn't. So I like that one to put in the parlay. And speaking of this parlay, so here's the one I got. Uh, this is 5 legs. The kicking points 6.5 over for Borregales, over 33.5 for Drake May's longest pass completion. Sam Darnold to throw one pick. Drake May, Drake May under 20 pass completions, and then Kenneth Walker anytime touchdown. That is plus 1044. So uh, I don't know. That one seems good to me. I don't know
Well,
where it
it
would
could
go
go
wrong,
wrong in
but
so many places, but I
I'm
do
gonna
like
put a
that
little
you're
bit.
reaching for a couple. My prop bet. I'm trying to plug it back in now because I'm going back and forth. Has more of like a lot of different things in the game that revolve around the team as compared to the players themselves. For instance, I'm going with the Seahawks to score first. In the first half, total touchdowns, I'm going with under 2.5, being that the game is going to be 10-0 at halftime. And I'm also going with in the second half, New England, there is going to be more than 2 touchdowns because there's going to be a shootout to reach that 24-17 score. And then going to the thing, if it's going to be 24-17, I would obviously bet the odd points on that because that's what would happen in that particular manner. And to top it all off,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pick the Seahawks to win with that parlay. And that 5-leg parlay puts me at approximately 1444. So I will take that.
Well, yeah, that's a good one. Did you like the under as well? Because
Yeah,
24-17 would put it under
I guess I
44,
would add the
45
under to
and a half.
that just for, like you said, a free kicker, pun intended. So yeah, it's a
Mm-hmm.
pretty good I got it all figured out and we'll see if it happens.
Now, I'm not going to get too into this because, it's private information, but the mayor's having some trouble putting bets in, so I am willing to be his bookie for this game. I'll put bets in anything you want, $1 bet, whatever you want, and I'll send you the odds, I'll send you
Yeah.
the receipt, and I can send you the
So
money.
yeah, that 7-bet parlay would be a plus 5843, and the kind folks at Hard Rock are giving me a 30% profit boost. But at the moment, for some reason, it will not let me deposit my money to give it to them. I mean, they might as well just take it right out of my bank account and just not even let me do
Yeah.
it. But it's I think it's more frustrating that I can't give them my money to take than it is for them to take my money. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but plus 48, 50, 58, 43, on a $10 bet would be 700 something, 800 something dollars. So I'm going to see if I can make it go.
Right. All right. For sure,
Okay.
that's something I could
Yeah, well, we'll
facilitate
figure something out.
if that's something you want. All right. So yeah. All right. So let's see. I think I have one other thing. Oh, we were gonna do the playoff parlay, and I think where you already kind of stated where you're going with our playoff parlay today, but I don't know if you just picked two things to parlay together just for
Well,
that particular game we played all year.
I mean, yeah, we've started that in the playoffs, didn't we? Yeah. And
Yeah, that
did we say
particular
we need
we
to
did
pick all
parlays during
three
the season.
legs of the general spread total and the winner?
Yeah, I just did
I
two.
think
Do we
three
need
is
to do three?
where I don't know. I mean, I guess we could just do two, but I think trying to pick all three is equally nerve wracking and challenging. But I think we're going to be on the same page on these.
We might be. I know we're on the same page on the two that I have, I think. So right now I've got 45 and a half under, and
Yeah,
I've got the Seattle money line. I guess if I were to pick one I liked, I would probably pick the Patriots plus four and a
yeah,
half.
and that's where I'm at with mine. So I mean, the last round of our game to be named later, the Super Bowl edition, where I think we're gonna forever be in agreement. So I don't know if we want to maybe change something.
I mean, if we want to win, it's just in the real world. That's one thing. So just 45 and a half under, and Seattle money line was plus 154. Not great. Let me see if I add in.
Yeah, I mean it adds a
If I
nice
add in
little,
the
it's a nice
Northern
little
plus
kick
four
to
and
it.
a half. Yeah, it would be plus
Yeah.
783, almost 8 to 1. So I think that's good. Let's add that, and let's see if we can win some actual money in the real world for once on these parlays.
So wait, what did
All
you
right,
bet both of
so
those?
I'm looking at my I haven't bet. I haven't.
Your
Wait,
wild parlay that you
which two
mentioned.
are you talking about?
Okay, and you just bet the
Yes, I did bet
three
that one.
picks on Patriots spread, total points under, and Seahawks the winner.
Yeah, I haven't placed a bet, but I've got it sitting here. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
that's
figure out how much money I
yeah.
want to put on it.
I mean, if
Um,
because it's such low odds, I mean, you got to at least. I mean, $5 is a decent little payout for what it is, but 50 would be, hey, that's saying something. But I'm not going to bet $50 on it, and I do not condone betting large amounts
yeah,
of money if you have um, a gambling addiction.
yeah, yeah. Get help for that if you have that. Hopefully we don't contribute too much to people having that problem. I apologize if anybody hears this and decides to
Yeah.
bet a lot
If
of
so,
money.
call your sponsor.
Not a good idea. Don't listen to me. Yes. All right. So we both like Patriots plus 4.5, Seahawks to win, and the under 45.5. And we both think it's going to be a slow start, right? The Patriots have given up points on their first drive at an alarming rate. But I don't. I suspect the Patriots will not be scoring much, if anything, in the first half. There was a player prop, team prop of New England punting on their first drive, which I thought was pretty sure that's going to be a lock unless it's a turnover. I can't see them going marching down the field against the Seahawks on their first drive. Do you think that one would be a solid bet?
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
not
in
in
Hard
Hard
Rock
Rock
though.
because they know. It'd be a nice little kicker to add into, another parlay if you're going down that rabbit hole of betting. But just a standalone bet itself, it's probably not worth the time or the money.
Yeah. So this is Stephon Diggs' first Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. It's a lot first Super Bowl for a lot of people, but he's been around the league for a while. Never got there with Minnesota. Very close to getting there with Minnesota, and then close to getting there with Buffalo as well. But this is the time he actually broke through. So do you think Stephon Diggs is going to be special in this game, or I know he's not a very well liked player, even amongst the players, but do you think he's going to
I
have a
looked at
special game?
his, I think it's like 49 and a half yards for his over under. It seemed, I mean, that could happen in one play. You just happen to break one tackle and you're 40 yards down the field. I think there's a lot of props that seem are too good to be true for
Hmm.
him. So we'll see. Quite interesting to say the least. And yeah, 46 and a half yards. I mean, receptions 4.5. It seems like anybody could, kind of get that done, especially if you're probably the number one receiver on the field for your team. But that defense in Seattle is relentless. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, he's plus 260 for an anytime touchdown. That's obviously large for a reason. He's not likely to score, but it's worth investing in, I think, because I think he's really going to be getting up for this game. I think he's a very competitive player, obviously, and he's going to want to be out there and be a red zone target. So I think take a flyer on plus 260 with Stephon Diggs for anytime touchdown. It's not going to be in any of my parlays, but it's something I wanted to put out there in the pod to see what you thought about it. I think I've gone over all the things I have for stats. Do you have any, or stats and props? Do
I'm
you have
trying to
anything
take a
else?
peek here. What else is hiding there on Hard Rock? That we haven't gone down the rabbit hole with yet. I think some of those, some of those things that happen. It doesn't look like I'm having struggle finding the goofy things that may happen in the Super Bowl on Hard Rock. Maybe they don't offer such bets.
No, you're not going to see anything crazy like
Yeah, and
that
that's
on Hard Rock,
unfortunate.
unfortunately.
And for some of the listeners maybe that aren't in our area in Florida, the Hard Rock Bet is the only legal betting site that you can use because they have owned the land from hundreds of years ago, and they have convinced the government of Florida, with large donations to campaigns and such things, that they have exclusive rights to sports betting
Yes.
on a computer that didn't exist on the land they used to own. I'm confused, but so is politics.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I feel like I'm doing them a solid.
Yeah,
It's the least I could do to give them my money.
their ancestors are
Um,
very
but
appreciative of
yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. So we're actually, yes, so I'm doing a good thing here. All right, so what about we talk about this I think every
Well,
year. What
see,
about Super Bowl
there's
food?
only one answer to that question, and that's world famous Stromboli, and of
I
course
know.
some chicken wings to go with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I have said this before, but I like the nachos idea. Layered nachos or just chips and dip, whatever it has to be. That's my go-to usually for the Super Bowl, but I might mix it up a little bit this year. I might make something with, you know, more protein,
There's
some
one
kind of red
unfortunate
meat or
thing to
something.
put like refried beans in one of those layers. And if you're not a fan of refried beans or sour cream, if something like that's in that layer, nachos it immediately
Mm-hmm.
is a turn off. And you can remove a lot of things from a nacho, but refried beans and or sour cream is not one of those items. So I understand everyone. If you're making nachos, make them as you feel. But if you care about other people's feelings, you will not add those items and let them add them on their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree. Anything
Yeah,
that's,
guacamole falls into that
of
category
mush
too. Some people just
consistency,
don't like
is
guacamole.
very good on the side and can be mixed in, with the dipping options just as well. Yeah, I mean, you
So
can
we're
add in
going.
like
So
some
you think we're
tomatoes
going
and, a couple like,
chips,
peppers,
salsa, and cheese?
mild peppers or something like that, definitely a protein in there. Um, so you just got to be cautious or well, I mean, some fresh
What's the
ground
best
ribeye would
protein
probably be the best
for
way to
nachos?
throw in those nachos. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure, steak. Yeah, but mostly it's ground beef or chicken or sometimes pork. I'm a big fan of the pork.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
You can
actually
get that
making a
for the same price,
homemade
and it
chicken
can have a lot more
enchilada
flavor.
today. That is not necessarily for the Super Bowl, but a celebration of the birthday of a family member, and I'm gonna make an attempt at a very nice homemade enchilada.
All right. Well, I think that's everything. So your prediction for score, sorry, is 24-17. I'm gonna go 24-20. So pretty close there. And we
One
got the
last thing.
Patriots covering
What was your
4.5. So,
preseason Super
um,
Bowl
all
prediction?
right.
Because I
So
remember
for the
mine.
mayor myself, thank you for listening. What?
Okay, I had the
Oh, I
Buffalo
completely
Bills
forgot about that because it was so wrong.
probably and
I
possibly
had
beating
Washington
my
against
beloved San
Buffalo.
Francisco 49ers in their own stadium.
Yeah, we were bad this year. I've been coasting on the one year I picked Philadelphia and Kansas City, and Kansas City to win. That one is my best year. I don't think I've gotten any other predictions right in terms of Super Bowl matchups in my entire life.
You know,
But
as long as you're not mentioning it
this
in
one
30
on
years,
a
like the
long
last
shot,
time the
as you mentioned
49ers
earlier,
or the Cowboys won the Super
2700.
Bowl, you'll be all right.
Yeah. All right. So for the mayor and myself, thank you for listening. We will do a podcast next week. We'll have another episode to kind of review what happened in the Super Bowl, and we will talk to you then. Have a good Super Bowl party and enjoy, but stay safe.